Okay, so a typical day in the life for me as an administrative assistant, a lot of times I would be the first one into work. I never knew when any of the other guys were coming in, and I was the only admin staff. It was me. I was in the front as the receptionist. I played counselor, pastor. I would answer doors, and depending on who came through them, I had to deal with that person or answer their questions. The guys would eventually end up coming in. My day consisted of meetings with them, going over scheduling, and at the time they needed me desperately, I will say that. I was always getting emails. There were phone calls. There were more people that dropped in. So I was dealing with being a receptionist, but I became Grubby's PA because I was dumb enough to do it. We had staff meetings, which were very different than the staff meetings of today. For me personally, they were very frustrating because these guys were just always joking around, and there were a million distractions and a million interruptions, and because it was just me, I had a lot of responsibility. So I just remember feeling I'm sitting back here wasting my time, and these guys are just having a good old time. We coined them the Good Old Boys Club because they would get together and they just have a lot of fun. My responsibilities with Grubby, he was not organized at all. I did his expense reports. He would save his receipts, and he would come into my office and with a big pile in his hand, and they were all crumbled up, and he would just take my hand and smack them on the hand. Where I wouldn't even know what ones were personal or which ones would work. I had to be the grand decipherer of all time. I've worked with Bob for many, many years. He would always say that his clothes were from Goodwill, dead man's clothes. And he was always raiding the kitchenette. The joke was, if it was expired, leave it for Bob, he'll eat it. Tony was always in my office. He was not easy on the compliments. It's like you really had to work very hard to get a compliment. I think somebody else said something to him. I think you need to give Denise a compliment. And so he goes into his office and he writes on a sticky note, compliment. And he brings it back out and he hands it to me. He goes, here's your stinking compliment for the day. That's going to be with me forever. Because it's my one stinking compliment that I got from Tony. There was something about Grubby that all of the things that he wasn't, he made up for because of the things that he was. He was just a treasure to work. He really was. He was a treasure. As much as Grubby was like, how do you keep a moonbeam in your hand? Bob felt every heartache from every person he ever counseled. And I would say that Tony and I had the closest working relationship because he was in every day. I find myself completely and utterly blessed. I love the people that I worked with, and you become family. So I loved I can't say that's not true. I haven't loved every minute, but I loved most minutes.
Staff meeting minutes too?
Especially the staff meeting minutes.